Picture this. It's a Sunday afternoon. You're sitting on the couch, your dog's head is resting in your lap, and you're doing what you always do, absently scratching behind their ears while you watch TV. And then your fingers feel it, something wet, something warm. You pull your hand back and there's a dark, sticky residue on your fingertips. You lean in close and the smell hits you. Sour, yeasty. Wrong. You look at your dog's ear and it's red, swollen around the edges. Your dog pulls away the moment you try to look closer and you realize this has probably been going on for days, maybe longer, and you had no idea. I know how that moment feels. That mix of guilt and panic and love all tangled together. You weren't being careless. Nobody teaches us what a healthy dog ear is supposed to look like, smell like, or feel like. Nobody gives us a roadmap. And so when something goes wrong, most of us do exactly what feels right. We rush to the vet, spend $300 or $400, get a prescription for antibiotic eardrops, and feel relieved. Until 6 weeks later, when it comes back. And it always comes back. Because the drops treat the symptom. They never touch the cause. Today, that cycle ends. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to read your dog's ear in under 10 seconds, what those signs actually mean biologically, the simple natural ingredients that can handle mild infections before they spiral out of control, and the deep internal reason why some dogs get ear infection after ear infection no matter what you do. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to reveal the one ingredient that most pet parents keep in their medicine cabinet thinking it helps, when it is actually making the infection dramatically, measurably worse. We're going to cover how to do a proper ear check before you ever touch the canal. Then we'll break down the two very different enemies that live inside infected ears and why treating the wrong one is like throwing gasoline on a fire. Then we move into the natural kitchen remedies that actually have science behind them. After that, we go deep into the real root cause of recurring infections, because it has almost nothing to do with the ear itself. And finally, the correct cleaning technique and that medicine cabinet mistake you need to stop making tonight. Let's start with the most important skill you will learn in this video. The skill that takes 10 seconds and can save your dog from weeks of silent pain. I call it the S.C.E.N. check. 5 things you assess before you ever put a finger inside your dog's ear. If you do this once a week, you will catch problems so early they almost always resolve without a vet visit. S is for smell. Hold the outside of the ear flap gently and bring it close to your nose without touching the canal. A healthy dog ear should smell like almost nothing, slightly warm skin maybe. If you notice a sour, yeasty corn chip smell, that is a yeast overgrowth. If the smell is sharp, putrid, almost like something rotting, that points toward a bacterial infection. These two infections require completely different responses, and confusing them is the most common mistake I see. C is for color. Gently lift the ear flap and look at the skin on the inside without touching anything. Healthy inner ear skin is a soft, pale pink, similar to the inside of their lip. If you see bright red, deep red, or a brownish-purple tint, inflammation is already underway. If the skin looks thickened, almost like it has a waxy, dark coating, that tells you the infection has been building for a while. E is for edges.
Dark brown or
Look
black
at the very rim of the ear canal opening, that small visible ring at the entrance.
That dark
In a
discharge
healthy
is the
ear,
calling
those
card of
edges
a
are
yeast
clean and
infection.
smooth. If the discharge is yellowish, greenish, or pus-like, that signals bacteria. N is for nodding. This one is behavioral. During your normal day, watch whether your dog shakes their head repeatedly, scratches at one ear with their back paw, or tilts their head to one side as though trying to drain something. These are not quirks. These are distress signals. A dog shaking their head 10 or 15 times an hour is telling you that something inside that canal is irritating them beyond what they can ignore. T is for touch response. Gently place 2 fingers at the base of the ear, at the very bottom where the ear meets the side of the head, and apply light pressure. Watch your dog's face. A dog with healthy ears will barely react. A dog with an infected ear will flinch, pull away, whimper, or snap. That pain response tells you the inflammation has reached the tissues at the base of the canal, which means the infection is not brand new. That is your S.C.E.N.T check. 5 steps, 10 seconds. Do it every single week and you will never be caught off guard again. But once you've identified that something is wrong, the next question is critical. What exactly is living in there? Because the answer changes everything about how you respond. Your dog's ear canal is shaped like an L. Unlike a human ear, which goes straight in, a dog's canal drops down before it turns inward toward the eardrum. This means moisture, dead skin cells, and warmth get trapped in that bend. It is a biologically perfect environment for 2 very different organisms to thrive. The first is yeast, specifically a species called Malassezia pachydermatis. Yeast is a fungus. It is always present on your dog's skin in small amounts, and in a balanced system, it causes no problems. Yeast is a fungus. It is always present on your dog's skin in small amounts, and in a balanced system, it causes no problems. But when the environment shifts, when the ear gets too moist, when the immune system is stressed, when the diet is too high in starch, yeast explodes. It multiplies rapidly and releases byproducts that cause intense itching, a dark waxy discharge, and that unmistakable sour corn chip odor. Yeast thrives in a slightly alkaline environment. This is important information because it tells us exactly how to fight it. The second enemy is bacteria. The most common culprits are Staphylococcus and Pseudomonas. Unlike yeast, bacterial infections often develop secondary to another problem. A dog scratches their itchy, yeasty ear so hard they create a tiny abrasion. That break in the skin becomes a doorway. Bacteria enter, build what microbiologists call a biofilm, a protective fortress of mucus and protein around the colony, and suddenly you have an entirely different kind of infection on top of the original yeast problem. Bacterial infections tend to produce yellow, green, or brown pus-like discharge. The smell is different too, sharper, more foul, more like something genuinely decomposing. I had a family come in once with a 5-year-old golden retriever named Cooper. Cooper had been treated for ear infections 3 times in 18 months. Every time the vet gave antibiotic drops, the infection cleared, and then 6 weeks later it was back. The family was exhausted and starting to wonder if Cooper was just unlucky. When I examined him, I noticed immediately that his discharge was dark and waxy with a yeast smell. But his owner had been cleaning his ears with hydrogen peroxide between vet visits, thinking she was helping. She wasn't. She was actually destroying the very tissue meant to protect him. We'll come back to that. But the point is, knowing which enemy you are facing before you act is the difference between healing and accidentally making things worse. Now, let's talk about what you can actually do at home for mild infections, the kind you catch early with your S.C.E.N.T in check. And I want to be specific, because there is a lot of misinformation out there about what is safe and what is not. For yeast infections caught early, mild redness, yeasty smell, dark waxy buildup at the opening, no open sores, no deep pain, apple cider vinegar is your first line of defense. Here is the science. Yeast absolutely cannot survive in an acidic environment. Apple cider vinegar is acetic acid. When we dilute it properly and apply it to the outer ear, we rapidly shift the pH of that tissue, making it hostile to fungal growth. The correct preparation is a 50-50 mixture. Half raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, half warm water. Warm, not hot. Mix it in a small bowl. Take a large cotton ball, saturate it in the solution, and gently wipe the visible interior of the ear flap and the very outer ring of the ear canal. You are wiping the surfaces you can see. You are not pushing anything deeper. You are not pouring liquid into the canal. One gentle wipe on the outer surfaces once daily for 5 to 7 days. Now here is the warning, and I need you to hear this clearly. If your dog's ear has open sores, raw skin, or is actively bleeding, do not apply apple cider vinegar. Acetic acid on an open wound causes significant pain and can damage healing tissue. This remedy is exclusively for intact, inflamed, smelly skin. If there are wounds present, you need a veterinarian. For mild bacterial infections or as a general preventative cleaner, a simple saline solution is far gentler and equally effective. Mix 1 teaspoon of plain non-iodized salt into 1 cup of warm distilled water. Stir until fully dissolved. This isotonic solution mimics the natural fluid balance of tissue. It flushes away debris and discharge without disrupting the pH of the ear environment. Again, cotton ball, outer surfaces only, gentle wipe. Coconut oil has a legitimate role here as well. The lauric acid in organic, unrefined virgin coconut oil has documented antifungal and antibacterial properties. A tiny amount, just enough to lightly coat your fingertip, can be applied to the interior of the ear flap itself, not down into the canal, to soothe inflamed red skin and create a temporary antimicrobial barrier while the underlying infection resolves. One important note when you're using any supplement, probiotic treat, or flavored product during your dog's treatment period, always read ingredient labels carefully. Many commercial dog treats and flavored supplements contain xylitol, which some brands are now relabeling as birch sugar. Even trace amounts of xylitol can cause catastrophic liver failure in dogs. Plain, single-ingredient products only. No exceptions. These natural remedies work beautifully for mild cases caught early, but if you've been to the vet twice, filled 2 prescriptions, done everything right, and the infection keeps coming back every 6 to 8 weeks like clockwork, I need you to understand something that will change the way you think about your dog's health entirely. The problem is not in the ear, it never was. Here's what's actually happening inside your dog's body. 70 to 80% of the immune system lives in the gut. When the gut microbiome is balanced, full of diverse healthy bacteria, the immune system is calibrated correctly. It responds to genuine threats and ignores harmless things like pollen and dust. But when the gut microbiome is disrupted, the entire system goes haywire. Most commercial dry kibble is cooked at extremely high temperatures, a process called extrusion, that kills nearly all living bacteria in the food. Every meal of sterile processed kibble feeds the body calories but starves the microbiome. Add to that the fact that most kibbles are heavily loaded with cornstarch, wheat, and potato, all of which convert directly into sugar during digestion. And what is yeast's favorite food? Sugar. When a dog eats a high-starch diet with a depleted gut microbiome, yeast doesn't just grow in the gut, it spreads systemically. It overflows into the bloodstream, the skin, the paws, and you guessed it, the ears. This is what I call the ear-gut loop. The cycle works like this. Poor diet depletes the gut microbiome. Depleted microbiome allows yeast to proliferate. Systemic yeast colonizes the ears. Eardrops suppress the surface infection temporarily. The gut never heals, and 6 weeks later, the yeast population in the ears rebuilds itself from the inside out. This is why the drops work, and then it comes back. Every single time. To break this loop, you have to attack the root. And the most powerful tool you have is your dog's food bowl. Start by introducing probiotics. The easiest, most affordable way to do this is a spoonful of plain kefir or plain unsweetened yogurt mixed into their dinner. Kefir is a fermented milk drink packed with billions of live bacterial cultures. These good bacteria colonize the gut, crowd out the yeast, rebalance the immune system, and over time, usually 4 to 6 weeks of consistent use, dramatically reduce the frequency of ear infections. I have seen dogs who had 4 ear infections a year go 12 full months without a single episode after their owners committed to a daily probiotic. And I need to say this clearly, because I know some of you are already reaching for the yogurt container. Read the label before you open it. You are looking for one specific ingredient to avoid, xylitol, which is increasingly listed as birch sugar on reformulated products. It must be 0 grams of added sugar, no artificial sweeteners, plain and unflavored. If you cannot confirm this from the label, skip the yogurt and use a pet-specific probiotic powder from your vet instead. Beyond probiotics, inflammation in the ear canal is directly driven by inflammatory signals in the blood. Omega-3 fatty acids are the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory compound available to us. Canned sardines packed in water with no added salt, 1 sardine mashed into their bowl twice a week, provide a staggering dose of EPA and DHA, the specific omega-3s that cross the blood barrier into tissue and physically reduce the cellular swelling that makes ears so red and painful. Alternatively, a small pump of pure salmon oil kept refrigerated delivers the same benefit in a form even picky eaters will accept. Finally, consider reducing the starch load in their bowl. You don't have to switch to a raw diet. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars a month. Simply pull back slightly on the portion of kibble and replace that volume with whole food toppers. A spoonful of plain pumpkin puree, a few smashed blueberries, a piece of cooked plain chicken. Less starch means less sugar. Less sugar means less fuel for yeast. The effect compounds over weeks. My friends, we are close to the end, but we still have 2 critical things to cover. The right way to physically clean the ears, and the medicine cabinet mistake I promised to reveal. When you clean your dog's ears at home, the single most important rule is this. You clean only what you can see. The ear canal is not a place for cotton swabs, folded tissues, or anything with a rigid tip. The anatomy of a dog's L-shaped canal means that anything pushed inward compacts wax and debris against the eardrum rather than removing it. Over time, this creates blockages that worsen infection and can cause permanent damage. The correct technique uses a veterinarian-approved ear cleaning solution or the saline solution we discussed earlier. Never anything that fizzes, foams, or feels cold. Warm the solution slightly by holding the bottle in your hands for a minute. Saturate a large cotton ball. Fold the ear flap back so the canal opening is visible. Gently place the cotton ball at the entrance of the canal and squeeze it so a small amount of fluid runs in. Then fold the ear flap back down and gently massage the base of the ear, that cartilage ridge at the bottom, for about 20 seconds. You will hear a soft squishing sound. This is good. The fluid is loosening debris. Allow your dog to shake their head. Then take a fresh dry cotton ball and wipe away everything that has migrated out to the surface. Repeat until the cotton ball comes back clean. Do not clean healthy ears more than once every 1 to 2 weeks. Overcleaning disrupts the natural wax barrier that protects the canal from moisture intrusion. And now, the medicine cabinet mistake. The ingredient that nearly every well-meaning pet parent reaches for? Hydrogen peroxide. I understand why it seems logical. It fizzes. It looks like it's killing germs. In human first aid, it's been used for generations. But in a dog's ear canal, hydrogen peroxide is genuinely harmful. Here's the biology. The interior lining of a dog's ear canal is made of delicate epithelial cells. These cells are responsible for maintaining the ear's self-cleaning mechanism. They literally migrate outward, carrying wax and debris with them naturally. Hydrogen peroxide oxidizes on contact with organic tissue. That fizzing reaction is not just killing bacteria, it is damaging those epithelial cells. With repeated use, it disrupts the self-cleaning process, dries out the canal, creates micro tears in the lining, and, critically, destroys the healthy bacterial flora that acts as the ear's first immune defense. The result? A raw, compromised canal with no protective bacteria sitting in a warm, moist environment. Exactly what opportunistic yeast and bacteria are waiting for. In trying to clean the ear, hydrogen peroxide creates perfect conditions for infection to worsen. If you have been using hydrogen peroxide on your dog's ears, stop today. Switch to saline. It is gentle, effective, and works with the ear's natural biology rather than against it. We started this video with your fingers finding something wrong in your dog's ear on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Now look at everything you've built in 20 minutes. You have the S.C.E.N.T check, a 10-second weekly ritual that catches problems before they become emergencies. You understand the difference between yeast and bacteria and why that distinction matters before you act. You have 2 safe, scientifically grounded kitchen remedies for mild early-stage infections. You understand the ear-gut loop, and you know exactly how to break it with probiotics and omega-3s. You know the correct cleaning technique, and you know to put the hydrogen peroxide back in the cabinet and leave it there. You do not need to do all of this overnight. Pick just one thing. Maybe tonight you do the S.C.E.N.T check. Maybe tomorrow you add a spoonful of plain kefir to their dinner. Small, consistent actions compound into real, lasting health. That is what holistic care actually looks like. If this video helped you understand your dog in a way you didn't before, hit the like button right now.
Is your dog
It
dealing
helps
with
this kind of
recurring
honest,
yeast ear
practical information reach
or
more
have the
pet
vet
parents who
visits
need
pointed
it.
more toward
And subscribe
bacteria?
so you never
And
miss a
raise your
video
hand
like
with a
this
paw
one.
emoji if you've ever used hydrogen peroxide on your dog's ears before watching this video.
I read every single comment, and I genuinely love hearing about your dogs. Give your sweet pup a gentle scratch right at the base of that ear tonight. The good ear, the healthy one. They earned it, and so did you.